So we have been addressing or talking about the JTB or the problem of epistemology, and now we would specifically be talking from the primary sources, and that is Duncan Pritchard's work, What is this thing called knowledge, particularly in pages from 123 to 133. And as has just been mentioned, Duncan Pritchard's What is this thing called knowledge is a part of the paper on epistemology that has been newly introduced for the NEP 6th semester students of Philosophy Honours as DSC, Discipline Specific Core 18. Now let's get into more details. Pritchard's work, What is this thing called knowledge, particularly in pages 123 to 133 as highlighted in the syllabus of Delhi University NEP, he delves into advanced epistemological issues related to the nature of knowledge, exploring the complexities that go beyond the traditional justified true belief or JTB model, and addressing prominent problems in contemporary epistemology. Addressing the Gettier problem. Pritchard revisits the Gettier problem, emphasizing its enduring challenge to the JTB model of knowledge. He explains how Gettier cases demonstrate that justified true beliefs can be held by coincidence rather than actual knowledge. For instance, Pritchard examines how people can have beliefs that are true and justified, yet still fail to know in a meaningful sense due to luck or errors in reasoning. Pritchard considers various approaches to resolve the Gettier problem, and as had mentioned, one of them was the no-false lemmas. One strategy to solve the Gettier issues is the no-false lemmas condition, which holds that the justification for a belief should not be based on any false premises. However, Pritchard points out that this approach is not always sufficient, as it does not cover every case where beliefs are coincidentally true without proper knowledge. Pritchard considers various approaches to resolve the Gettier problems, and besides the no-false lemma, the second one was about reliabilism. So the other solution Pritchard explores is reliabilism, which suggests that knowledge results from reliably produced beliefs rather than mere justified ones. This view focuses on the source and process by which beliefs are formed, arguing that knowledge is more likely to arise when beliefs stem from a consistently accurate method such as perception or memory. Virtue epistemology. Pritchard discusses virtue epistemology, which interprets knowledge as a result of intellectual virtues or skills. According to this view, knowledge depends on the intellectual abilities of the person holding the belief. For instance, a belief can be considered knowledge if it arises from the intellectual competence of the person and not by accident or luck. Virtue responsibilism with virtue epistemology, again there are certain differences, and we must address the distinction between virtue reliabilism and virtue responsibilism within virtue epistemology. Now, what is this virtue reliabilism? Virtue reliabilism approach focuses on the reliability of intellectual faculties like perception and memory, which must consistently lead to true beliefs. On the other hand, virtue responsibilism, here knowledge stems from cognitive traits or intellectual virtues like open-mindedness, carefulness, and intellectual courage. By emphasizing these virtues, Pritchard suggests that knowledge is not just about possessing true beliefs, but also about forming them through proper intellectual conduct. The third is something called the epistemic lack. A central theme in these pages of Pritchard is about epistemic luck, a concept that complicates our understanding of knowledge. Pritchard categorizes different kinds of epistemic luck and analyzes how they interfere with knowledge. Epistemic luck, such as, for example, there is something called environmental luck. This occurs when someone forms a true belief by chance, despite the belief being justified. For example, a person might form a belief based on perception, yet the environment, like a field with fake cows except for one real one, introduces luck into whether the belief is true. Reflective luck is yet another kind of epistemic luck. Pritchard argues that reflective epistemic luck relates to beliefs about abstract topics like mathematics or ethics, where even if one is justified, the truth may still be a matter of chance. Pritchard thus emphasizes that for genuine knowledge, beliefs must be insulated from luck. This means that knowledge requires a level of control or stability in the process of forming beliefs that makes them reliably true rather than coincidentally so. The safety condition. To address epistemic luck, Pritchard introduces the safety condition, which requires that if a person knows something, then they couldn't easily have been wrong in similar situations. The safety condition proposes that knowledge must be formed in a way that would typically lead to truth across similar scenarios. In other words, if a belief is safe, then in nearby or slightly different conditions, the person would still arrive at a true belief. The fourth condition, which was the safety condition, aims to eliminate the problem of knowledge being accidentally true. For instance, if someone forms a belief that happens to be true in their exact situation but would likely be false under slightly altered conditions, then the belief does not meet the safety condition and thus cannot be considered knowledge. Fifth, contextualism and knowledge. Pritchard addresses contextualism, which suggests that the standards for claiming knowledge can vary depending on the context. This view holds that what counts as knowledge may be more or less demanding, depending on factors like the stakes involved or the specificity of the context. For example, knowing that a bus arrives at a particular time might suffice for everyday purposes. Still, in high-stakes situations, say catching a one-year exam bus, higher standards may apply and ordinary assumptions of knowledge may no longer suffice. Contextualism therefore allows flexibility in defining knowledge based on situational demands. In these pages, Pritchard highlights that knowledge is a complex and nuanced concept not easily captured by simple definitions like the JTB model. By introducing notions like epistemic luck, the safety condition, virtue epistemology, and contextualism, he showcases the evolving approaches in epistemology to define knowledge more accurately. Pritchard's examination underscores that understanding knowledge requires moving beyond justification and truth, incorporating elements like intellectual reliability, situational context, and freedom from luck. Now, we have learned that knowledge has been a central concept in philosophy and has been traditionally defined as JTB. This classic definition suggests that for a person to know something, A, they must believe it, B, the belief must be true, and C, they must have a justification for holding that belief. However, we had also seen how this definition has been challenged by Gettier, when he demonstrated that there can be situations where a belief is justified and true but still does not constitute knowledge, and that brought us to the very significant themes called the Gettier problem. Now, if one is to talk about knowing versus merely getting it right, we would see that to know something, one must have a justified true belief as opposed to merely guessing or accidentally arriving at the correct answer. For example, a student understands the principles of physics and correctly predicts the result of an experiment. That is knowing. Getting it right, when a student guesses the answer on a test and happens to be correct. So there is a distinction between knowing versus merely getting it right. The distinction emphasizes the role of justification in turning correct guesses into knowledge. We also have something called the problem of the criterion. This philosophical problem asks two interrelated questions under epistemology, which is, what is the criterion of knowledge? How do we determine what qualifies as knowledge? How do we know if we have met that criterion? This circularity arises because to establish a criterion, one must already have knowledge, and to claim knowledge, one must have a criterion. This creates an epistemic challenge about the starting point of knowledge. So, further, is knowledge justified true belief then? While the JTB definition has been foundational, philosophers question its adequacy, and we have seen how the Gettier cases have shown us that it is not always the case. And Gettier have approached the JTB problems, and Pichard has chipped in with alternative theories of JTB, and the alternative or the additional theories have been that of reliabilism, where we had already studied, which was knowledge is justified through belief produced by a reliable process. Virtue epistemology, where we have also studied how knowledge arises when a belief is formed through intellectual virtue. Contextualism, where the standards for knowledge depends on the context. Now, the debate continues with many philosophers proposing refinements or alternative definitions to address these challenges. We will also quickly have a look now on knowledge and justification, the nature of justification, infinitism, coherentism, and foundationalism. Justification is a key component of knowledge as it bridges the gap between mere belief and well-founded knowledge. It involves having sufficient reasons, evidences, or grounds to support a belief, making it rationally defensible. Philosophers debate the nature, structure, and sources of justification, leading to several theories. And some of these theories of justification are, number one, epistemic justification, concerned with ensuring that beliefs are based on good reasons or evidence and aim at the truth. This is central to distinguishing knowledge from lucky guesses or unsupported beliefs. Internalism versus externalism. Internalism is the justification depends on factors accessible to believers' conscious awareness, example, evidence or reasoning. Externalism, justification depends on external factors such as the reliability of the process that produced the belief even if the believer is unaware of them. Under justification, we also have the deontological perspective, which views justification in terms of intellectual responsibility. Beliefs are justified if they conform to epistemic duties such as avoiding biasness or seeking evidence. So clearly we can see that there are theories of justification too, and the first one can be foundationalism. Beliefs are structured like a pyramid or building where certain basic or foundational beliefs support all other beliefs. Foundation beliefs are self-evident, infallible, or justified without needing support from other beliefs. Examples of foundational beliefs are sensory experiences, logical axioms, and so on. Criticisms. How are foundational beliefs justified? Critics argue that such beliefs may not be as indubitable as foundationalists claim. Second theory of justification is coherentism. Coherentism rejects foundationalism and views justification as a matter of coherence among beliefs. A belief is justified if it fits within a mutually supportive, coherent web of beliefs. The strengths of coherentism is that it avoids the problem of needing indubitable foundations. Justification depends on the system's consistency. Criticisms. Coherence alone does not guarantee truth. Entire systems of belief can be internally coherent but disconnected from reality. Infinitism is yet another form of justification. Infinitism proposes that justification requires an infinite chain of reasons. Unlike foundationalism and coherentism, infinitism argues that no belief is ultimately self-justified. Instead, justification comes from an ongoing progression of reasons. Challenges. Critics argue that infinite chains of justification are impractical and epistemically unsatisfying because humans cannot access or process infinite reasons. Now, if we can look at this slide, we see that there are the basic key ideas, strengths and weaknesses of the various theories of justification which I had just about mentioned. Under foundationalism, the key idea has been the basic beliefs grounded all others. The strength is that it provides a clear structure, avoids infinite regress. Weakness is that justifying foundational beliefs is problematic. Coherentism as justification, the key idea is that the beliefs are justified within a coherent system. Strength is that it avoids needs for foundational beliefs, and weaknesses, coherence doesn't guarantee truth. Infinitism, the key idea is that justification involves an infinite chain of reasons. Strengths, avoids arbitrary or unjustified foundations. Weaknesses, infinite regress seems unachievable in practice. So, we see that the nature of justification remains a complex and debated topic in epistemology. Foundationalism, coherentism, and infinitism each offer insights and face challenges. While foundationalism emphasizes certainty, coherentism values interconnectedness, and infinitism underscores the dynamism of reasoning. These theories continue to shape how philosophers approach the concept of justified belief. Now, we also see that in chapter 4, there are certain key philosophical insights of Pritchard's work, and we can sum it up in the following way. 1. The structure of knowledge, and this is sourced from the reading What is This Thing Called Knowledge, the 4th edition, pages 30 to 40, where in chapter 4 it delves into the foundational question of how knowledge is structured. The philosophical insights in this section explore the nature, organization and justification of beliefs that constitute knowledge. Some of the key insights of these source of reading could be: 1. The problem of regress. The chapter begins by addressing the classic epistemological issue of regress in justification. It explores how beliefs are justified and whether this process can ever reach a satisfying conclusion. The regress argument. For any belief to be justified, it must rest on another belief. This chain of justification can terminate in foundational beliefs, form a coherent web, continue infinitely, thus covering foundationalism, coherentism, infinitism. This sets the stage for exploring different theories of justification. Foundationalism, we had already seen, building knowledge from a base. Knowledge is structured hierarchically with basic self-justified beliefs serving as the foundation for all other beliefs. Key features: foundational beliefs are often considered infallible. Non-foundation beliefs derive justification from foundational ones. Critics question whether foundational beliefs can truly be self-evident or immune to doubt. Challenges arise in bridging foundational beliefs with more complex or abstract beliefs. Coherentism, the web of belief. The core idea, the justification comes from the coherence of belief system as a whole. There are no foundational beliefs, instead all beliefs mutually support one another. Coherence is assessed based on consistency, explanatory power, and simplicity within the system. The emphasis is on the holistic nature of justification. A coherent belief system can be disconnected from reality. Example, fictional worlds can be internally consistent. Critics argue that coherence alone cannot establish the truth of a belief system. Infinitism, endless justifications. The core idea, justification requires an infinite chain of reasons where no belief is foundational or circularly justified. Strengths, avoids arbitrariness and dogmatism associated with foundational beliefs. It provides a dynamic, ongoing process of justification. Infinitism seems impractical as humans cannot process infinite reasons. Critics argue that an infinite chain may fail to provide epistemic certainty. Internalism versus externalism. This chapter also highlights the distinction between internalist and externalist views of justification. Internalism, justification requires that the believer has access to the reasons or evidence supporting a belief. It emphasizes rational reflection and accessibility. Critique, it leads to skepticism because individuals cannot access all justifying factors. Externalism, justification depends on factors external to the believer's awareness, such as the reliability of the belief-forming process. It emphasizes practical and functional accounts of justification. Critique, justification might feel inadequate if the believer lacks awareness of the process. The interplay between truth and justification. This chapter also examines how justification contributes to knowledge but stresses the importance of aligning beliefs with truth. While justified beliefs aim at truth, justification does not guarantee it. Philosophers explore how truth-conducive processes like reliability or coherence interact with justification to produce knowledge. The role of context and pragmatics. The structure of knowledge can vary depending on the epistemic context. Pragmatic considerations, example, the stakes of being right or wrong, influence what counts as justification or sufficient evidence. So, we see that this section explores or has tried to explore the intricate structure of knowledge and competing theories of justification, which were foundationalism, coherentism, and infinitism. It emphasizes the dynamic tension between justification, truth, and the practical challenges of knowing. The insights illuminate ongoing debates in epistemology, particularly how beliefs are justified and organized into systems of knowledge. This foundational understanding shapes contemporary approaches to epistemology and informs broader inquiries into the nature of knowing. So we had discussed in today's lecture our DSC 18 on epistemology, which has been floated for the first time in our 6th semester philosophy honors NEP syllabus. And I hope all of you have had some takeaways from this lecture series. Thank you so much.